Hello everyone, Dead by Daylight, some Survivor gameplay here. My perk build is Sprint Burst, Urban Evasion, Small Game and Bond. I've really got fed up using self-care. It just takes too long to heal, and with Bond you really can see survivors there. You can see the aura of one of my survivors as long as they're in a 36 meter range. What I do now is, if I'm injured and escape, well, I just go to a teammate and let the teammate heal me, which is way much quicker. And then you and that teammate can knock out a gen much faster. It's just so much better for the team. But if you're a survivor, if you're starting out in this game, you're a beginner, well, self-care is going to be one of your most vital tips, or one of your most vital perks. Here I've got the indication with my small game where one of the totems is. And I'll give you a tip here on totem busting. I always, every game, if I see a totem by an exit gate, which there always is a totem by an exit gate, so if you're looking for a hex rune, that's a good indication that there's going to be always a totem at the exit gate. What I do is I always take those totems out, because lots of killers use no one escapes death these days, and you really don't want the no one escapes death spawn near an exit gate, because the killer always checks those. If you could take those out early in the game, well, the killer is always going to check the exit gate, and if no one escapes death does spawn, and if you've got small game, you'll have no trouble finding that totem in the middle of the map. And you can be sure that the killer's not going to go to his totem, he's going to be checking those gates, so you're really safe to take that totem out. Always take out the totems at the exit gate. Here I'm just plugging away at this gen here, because I know you can see my teammate there's on the search for that hex rune, and you really don't want all your team looking for that totem, so I'm really just getting stuck under this gen here. And with enough practice, you will hit those great skill checks. You won't always hit them, but sure, there's many times I've completed a gen where you only had one or two skill checks, a full gen on my own. Sometimes I've completed them without any skill checks. But I just hope that this person takes out that totem, and if not, I'll complete this gen, and then whenever I'm going to my next gen, well, my small game might help me find that hex totem. It's just really time conserving, just for the survivors. Really gives us the best chance and not wasting so much time. And we're playing against Michael Myers. I hate that exposed status. Used to really trouble me, Myers, at the start, but once I got the number one, I've really practiced my game. When you get the number one, you don't need to rank up no more. All you need to do is sustain rank, and you could save game with only like 7,000-8,000 points at times. You really don't need a lot of points. And escaping, what does escaping get you? It gets you 5,000 points. If you're an average survivor like me, if you've made it the number one, which lots of average survivors makes it the number one these days, you want to stay behind, especially if the killer's a good killer. He doesn't hook camp or doesn't tunnel. I would stay behind and try and get a practice run off him. Always try and scope out where pallets are, because at the start when I played this game, I really didn't look where pallets were or anything. I just looked for gens and tried to get them done, and then when the killer came, like I'm seeing pallets here. There's one there, and there's the other exit gate totem. Always try and remember where those pallets are. And as I said, with the killer, if he's a good killer, he's not a tunneler, he's not a camper. Well, and if you think you've made enough points, you're at number one, you don't need to rank up, you feel you've saved game, well, I would stay behind it and remember where the pallets were, and just practice your running. All you've got to lose really is 5,000 points, 5,000 blood points. It's really not nothing really. You could stay behind really and practice your running. You will get better, and that's worked for me. I made it to number 1, and that's what I tried. I says, I'm going to practice my run here. I've nothing to lose. And it really benefited, so it did. And someone's taken out the hex rune, so it really was wise for me to just stay on the gen, because you know someone's always going to look for it. I'd be confident now in hitting lots of great skill checks, so I just work away on the gen really, and then whenever I'm going to my next gen, if I come across it with my small game, well look at that, I see another pallet there. That's just something that I wasn't doing at the start. And see that totem there? I wouldn't waste time busting that. If the killer has know it at the end of the game, remember where it was. It's nowhere near an exit gate. If he has no it and he downs someone, puts him on a hook, he's going to go back to the exit gates to see who's trying to escape. So just you go and take that totem out. I think that's the best strategy. Rather, at the start I was running around trying to bust all totems, but just bust the 2 at the exit gates. And any that you see then, remember where they are, because you know you're going to be safe. He's going to go to an exit gate, and that totem's miles away from the exit gates. You can just go and take that out whenever you need to. You'll really benefit your team much more. Now we're a survivor down. Gets a lot tougher. And with exposed on, you really want to stay safe. Urban Evasion it's really powerful perk for someone that's not the greatest at this game. If you're not good at running, well, stealth's got to be your game. And Urban Evasion, well, everybody knows you leave red scratch marks when you run. Look how fast I'm moving, crouching here. It's even faster than walking. And you're kept low. You're really powerful perk for the beginner, so it is. And Bond's such a powerful perk too, because co-op gen work gives extra points, and we've got Day and Light. Really horrible perk they play against. It's really vital that the 2 of us is really on this gen here, giving us a real chance. And Sprint Burst, I always used to run Life, it was, or Life, whatever you call it. And that means that it's kind of like Sprint Burst, only when you perform a fast vault, it gives you the same effect that Sprint Burst have. You run at 150% your normal running speed when you perform a fast vault. But loads of times I couldn't find a fast vault, and you're just better off really with Sprint Burst, because if you're on a gen that's 97% and you see the killer coming, well, you can hang on and try and complete that gen. And then when the killer comes close and you complete it, well, you can take off your Sprint Burst, and you can be sure enough he'll swing and try and hit you, and that'll slow him down even for a other bit. And if you can remember where pallets are, it'll really give you the best chance of putting up a good run. You don't have to do a great run. You just, if everybody could waste like a minute of the killer's time each hook, the killer's really up against it. You see how slow this gen is here, working on your own. Tried to tell that person there that I'll do this gen, you go and save. Thankfully she's going to do that, because we really need that survivor in the game. And here he's on me. I know where my pallet is. That pallet I passed there, well, I class that as an intermediate pallet. I really had to throw that pallet down right away, because I didn't want that hit. That was a great pallet too. Now this is where that's where I use my Urban Evasion. Now I'm not leaving no scratch marks really. I really don't like hiding lockers either. I don't know. It's one of the rare times that I've done that in this game. But thankfully it was effective this time. If you really, with urban evasion, if you really can break the killer's line of sight whenever he's coming, and just urban evasion away then, and leave no scratch marks, it's really a powerful perk. If you're not a great runner, well, stealth's got to be your game at the start in this. And it always was my game. But nowadays, now that I'm not number one in this game, but I've been number one many times before, and whenever I get to number one, I stay back and I practice me running. I would never do it to a tunneler or a camper, but I would always do it to a fair killer, somebody that's really allowed everybody to play and played the game properly. Well, I would stay behind and try and get a practice run off him. And if he kills you, he kills you. What odds? I really don't mind giving a fair, decent killer that kill. If I can improve my running by doing that, all I'm losing out by really doing that is 5,000 points, because I've already sustained ranked anyway ages ago in the game. You know he's going to come back to this gen here because he's seen that it's half done. I'm just trying to get as much done as possible. And he's exposed on, he's found the other survivor. I'm just hoping that that survivor can put up a good enough run to give me enough time to complete this gen. Really hate Dying Light. Such a scary perk if you're doing gens on your own. And that survivor did put up a decent run and give me every chance. But here I'm not going anywhere near the exit gate. With Dying Light on, I'm sure that slows down the opening of the gate as well. And every killer uses barbecue and chili these days. I was given tips on barbecue and chili, but it really never sunk in until I got caught a few times. And now what I tend to do is try and get as close to the killer as possible before he hooks the person, because if you 54 meters away from where he hooks, I knew that killer there was going to the exit gate. That's why I went close to her, so that he didn't know where I was and that I could save her. Barbecue and chili, if you're 54 meters away, the killer can see your aura for 5 seconds whenever he hooks someone. If you're miles away when he hooks someone, what you should do is start walking one way and count to 5 and then turn and go the other way. It really works in your benefit. There, I was going to go and search a chest, but I know this person's going on the hook here and I'm too far away, so I'm trying to go one way and count to 5. And now I'm going the other way. It does work. It doesn't really work in this game, but it kind of worked because the killer comes up the right hand side here. He thinks I'm going over to the right hand side of the map here, but enough times that'll work in your benefit, because you'll be sending that killer on a wild goose chase by going the opposite direction for 5 seconds. And if you can get close to the killer, oh, there he sees me. Thankfully I've scoped out a few pallets here and that's where I'm going. At the start I had never done that. I know there's a pallet here and it's not a great pallet. I would call that an intermediate pallet, because there's a high rock there. And he sees me. I didn't see that red light or red stain the first time. But that last pallet there, that's an you're taking a chance looping these pallets here. Because if you go in behind that rock there, it's just a guessing game. Then you could go the wrong way and end them. So there's throwdown pallets, and then there's 50-50. Well, this is a great pallet. You could loop a killer here a good few times because the low barrier, you can always keep your eye on him. If you could do this here at the start of the game when there's 3 other survivors, it's really vital to the team wasting that time. But I just took a chance a wee bit too much. I'm not a great runner, but I'm starting to learn the great pallets that you should never throw down. You're probably best to get down rather than waste that pallet early in the game. Lucky for me in this game here, I was able to wiggle free because 3 of the survivors were hooked in this area of the map, and there are no hooks left. And so lucky to find the trap. And at this stage, after what I've done in this game, there's no way I'm giving up this. I'm telling them no. I don't give up I don't give up the trap standoff very easy in this game. As a survivor, you should always survive. I'm telling them now that we're going to go around circles all day here if you don't give in. Just be really stubborn in the trap. It'll be sad the day that you meet somebody that's more stubborn than you and that goes on forever, but thankfully it worked out for me. But anyway, thanks for watching.